2025 Cambodia-Thailand Border Tensions, Analyzing the Strategic Implications of Territorial Disputes on Southeast Asia's Stability. Overview. In 2025, the border tensions between Cambodia and Thailand escalated to alarming levels, raising significant concerns about the stability of Southeast Asia. The conflicts primarily stemmed from long-standing territorial disputes, particularly surrounding the historically contentious area of the Preah Vihear Temple. This situation not only threatened bilateral relations between the two countries but also posed broader implications for regional security and economic stability within the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN). Timeline of events. Early 2025, disputes over territory around the Preah Vihear Temple reignite as both nations assert sovereignty claims. Diplomatic talks initiated by ASEAN yield little progress and tensions start to rise. Mid-2025, Thailand begins conducting military exercises near the border, leading to heightened military readiness in Cambodia. Reports emerge of increased troop deployments on both sides, which exacerbate fears of a potential conflict. June 2025, the situation escalates significantly when Thailand conducts airstrikes targeting suspected military positions within Cambodia. This marked a notable shift from diplomatic negotiations to active military engagement, alarming ASEAN and the international community about the potential for a wider conflict. Key points and analysis. 1. Military engagements. The airstrikes launched by Thailand in June 2025 illustrate a critical turning point in the dispute. Analysts suggest that this military action indicates a shift from diplomatic efforts to a more aggressive military strategy. Thailand's decision to conduct airstrikes is perceived as a response to perceived threats and a demonstration of its commitment to territorial claims. This escalation raises concerns about the potential for increased military confrontations along the border. 2. Geopolitical implications. The Cambodia-Thailand tensions have significant implications for the geopolitical landscape in Southeast Asia. The conflict threatens to undermine ASEAN's unity, which has been historically pivotal in fostering regional cooperation. Analysts warn that ongoing border disputes could create rifts among member states, complicating efforts to maintain a cohesive regional strategy. The potential polarization of ASEAN member nations along nationalistic lines may hinder collaborative approaches to addressing common challenges. 3. Economic impact. The border conflict is poised to deter foreign investment in both Cambodia and Thailand, which could have detrimental effects on Southeast Asia's economic stability. Investors are increasingly wary of geopolitical risks, and the ongoing tensions could lead to economic downturns in a region that has been striving for growth and stability. The potential for disrupted trade routes and economic partnerships due to heightened military tensions could further exacerbate the situation. 4. Diplomatic responses. In response to the escalating conflict, both Cambodia and Thailand have called for international mediation. However, reactions from ASEAN and major global powers, such as the United States and China, have been cautious. Cambodia seeks to rally support from allies, while Thailand appears to be bolstering its military capabilities, complicating the diplomatic landscape. The lack of a unified response from ASEAN highlights the challenges facing the region in addressing internal conflicts. Common themes across sources. Across various analyses, certain themes consistently emerge. Escalation of military tensions. There is a unanimous agreement on the significant military escalations, particularly regarding Thailand's aggressive posturing and airstrikes. Regional stability concerns. All sources recognize the broader implications for Southeast Asian stability, with potential ramifications for trade and political alliances. The risk of further escalation remains a critical concern for regional and international observers. Differences between sources. While the analyses converge on several key points, there are notable differences in focus. Source 1 provides a historical context for the territorial claims. detailing the roots of the conflict and how historical grievances continue to shape current dynamics. Source 2 emphasizes immediate military actions and their implications for regional security dynamics, highlighting the shift towards military confrontation. Source 3 adopts a broader economic perspective, assessing how the conflict could impact investments and market conditions within Southeast Asia. Conclusion. The border tensions between Cambodia and Thailand in 2025 underscore critical issues surrounding territorial sovereignty, military engagement, and regional stability. As both nations struggle to navigate their claims, the potential for conflict remains a pressing concern for ASEAN and the international community. The ongoing situation necessitates a delicate balance between military readiness and diplomatic engagement to prevent escalation and foster long-term stability in Southeast Asia. In light of these developments, it is essential for ASEAN to strengthen its mechanisms for conflict resolution and ensure that member states prioritize dialogue over military confrontation. The international community must also remain vigilant and supportive of efforts to mediate and resolve disputes, thereby contributing to a more stable and secure Southeast Asian region. The content provided focuses on the Cambodia-Thailand border tensions in 2025 and highlights the implications these disputes have for regional stability in Southeast Asia. Here are some counterintuitive insights and points derived from the analysis. 1. Military engagement as a diplomatic tool. While military actions such as airstrikes are often viewed as a failure of diplomacy, in this case Thailand's aggressive military posture may paradoxically serve as a means of asserting its claims more effectively. This suggests that escalating military engagement can sometimes be perceived as a strategy to strengthen national resolve rather than an outright rejection of diplomatic avenues, challenging the conventional wisdom that military actions lead to diplomatic isolation. 2. Investor reaction. It is commonly believed that geopolitical tensions always lead to immediate withdrawal of foreign investments. However, the situation might also present opportunities for certain investors who view the conflicts as short-term risks that can lead to undervalued assets in the long run. In this light, the ongoing tensions may attract a different class of investors looking for high-risk, high-reward scenarios, countering the narrative that turmoil uniformly deters investment. 3. ASEAN's role. The expectation is that ASEAN would act as a stabilizing force among its members, promoting unity in the face of conflicts. However, the Cambodia-Thailand tensions could lead to a fragmentation of ASEAN's influence, as member states might align themselves more closely with major powers like the US or China based on their national interests rather than a collective ASEAN response. This could undermine the organization's perceived unity and effectiveness in conflict resolution. For economic consequences, there is a common assumption that military conflicts lead to immediate economic downturns. However, the analysis suggests that the broader economic impact might be more nuanced. While foreign direct investment could initially decline, regional economies may adapt over time, developing alternative partnerships or trading routes, thus mitigating the long-term economic fallout. 5. Public perception and nationalism. Typically, military conflict tends to unify a nation's populace against a common external enemy. Yet in this scenario, it could lead to internal divisions, where segments of the population in both Cambodia and Thailand may question their government's decisions to escalate militarily rather than pursue peaceful resolutions. This dynamic could foster a more complex societal response where nationalism clashes with calls for diplomacy, potentially leading to protests or civil unrest. 6. International mediation risks. It is often assumed that international mediation will lead to a peaceful resolution of disputes. However, the cautious responses from major powers in ASEAN may reflect a growing reluctance to engage deeply in regional conflicts, fearing that involvement might exacerbate tensions rather than resolve them. This hesitance could leave the nations involved in the conflict to navigate their disputes without significant external support. Contrary to the expectation that international intervention is a straightforward solution. 7. Long-term stability versus short-term gains. The analysis suggests a potential paradox where nations might prioritize short-term territorial gains over long-term regional stability. This contradicts the strategic rationality that maintaining stability is crucial for national interests, as countries might engage in aggressive posturing, risking larger-scale conflicts that could ultimately destabilize the region. 8. Militarization of diplomacy. The escalation of military tensions can lead to a militarized form of diplomacy where diplomatic negotiations are conducted under the shadow of military threats. This counters the traditional understanding that diplomacy should be pursued in a non-confrontational environment. In this case, military readiness may be viewed as a necessary component of effective negotiating power. In conclusion, the analysis of the Cambodia-Thailand border tensions in 2025 reveals several counterintuitive insights about military conflicts' economic ramifications and the role of international organizations. These findings challenge conventional perspectives on how disputes are managed and their broader implications for regional stability in Southeast Asia. In the report on the 2025 Cambodia-Thailand border tensions, several crucial elements may be overlooked by many readers, yet their significance is paramount for understanding the broader implications of the conflict. Here are some of the important content areas that deserve further exploration. 1. Historical context of territorial claims. While the report briefly mentions the Preah Vihear Temple dispute, it does not delve deeply into the historical context behind these territorial claims. Understanding the historical grievances and the long-standing nature of these disputes is critical. The Preah Vihear Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has been a point of contention since a 1962 International Court of Justice ruling awarded it to Cambodia, a decision that Thailand contested. This historical backdrop not only shapes national identities but also influences public sentiment and political discourse in both countries. The significance lies in how these entrenched narratives can fuel nationalistic fervor, making diplomatic resolutions more challenging. 2. Role of regional organizations. The report mentions ASEAN's response but does not adequately explore the organization's potential role in mediating the conflict. ASEAN has historically promoted regional stability and cooperation. Yet its effectiveness is often hindered by the principle of non-interference. The lack of a robust response mechanism for member states in conflict situations raises questions about the future of ASEAN as a unifying force in Southeast Asia. Analyzing ASEAN's internal dynamics and the varying interests of its member states like Vietnam and Indonesia can shed light on the feasibility of collaborative resolutions to the border dispute. 3. Economic implications beyond foreign investment. While the report touches upon the deterrence of foreign investment, it overlooks the broader economic ramifications, including impacts on local economies, trade routes, and supply chains. The border dispute could disrupt cross-border commerce, affecting livelihoods in border communities. Additionally, the conflict may lead to increased military spending at the expense of social infrastructure and economic development. This aspect is significant as it highlights the socio-economic costs of military engagements, which may exacerbate poverty and inequality in both nations. 4. External influences and geopolitical alliances. The report hints at the involvement of major powers like the US and China but does not explore how external influences could exacerbate or mitigate the conflict. Thailand's military modernization and Cambodia's search for allies may draw on external powers, leading to a proxy dynamic similar to historical Cold War scenarios. Understanding the geopolitical chess game involving these powers is vital as it can affect regional security architectures, trade agreements, and diplomatic relations. The significance of this aspect lies in its potential to draw the region into broader global conflicts, making local disputes part of an international narrative. 5. Military strategies and doctrines. The report mentions Thailand's airstrikes but does not analyze the military doctrines and strategies of both nations. For instance, Thailand's military strategy has been characterized by a focus on deterrence and rapid response capabilities, while Cambodia has historically relied on a smaller, less equipped military. Understanding these military strategies is significant as it can provide insight into the potential escalation of conflict. The military dynamics between the two nations may lead to miscalculations, increasing the risk of unintended confrontations. 6. Public sentiment and nationalism. The report lacks a discussion on public sentiment and how nationalism in both countries may influence the conflict. Nationalistic narratives can be powerful motivators for political leaders and can complicate diplomatic efforts as they resonate deeply with the populace. Analyzing how leaders in both countries leverage nationalistic sentiments for political gain can reveal the complexities of public opinion and its role in shaping conflict dynamics. The significance of this factor lies in its ability to either promote peace or escalate tensions, depending on how leaders respond to public pressures. 7. Environmental and social consequences. Lastly, the environmental and social consequences of military engagements are not addressed. Armed conflicts can lead to ecological destruction, particularly in biodiverse regions along the border. Additionally, the social fabric may be affected with displaced communities and disrupted livelihoods. Understanding the environmental impacts is crucial as they can lead to long-term challenges beyond immediate military objectives. The significance of these consequences is that they can foster resentment and hostility among local populations, complicating peacebuilding efforts in the aftermath of any conflict. Conclusion. The 2025 Cambodia-Thailand border tensions encapsulate a complex interplay of historical grievances, geopolitical maneuvering, and socio-economic implications. By overlooking the historical context, regional dynamics, economic ramifications, external influences, military strategies, public sentiment, and environmental consequences, readers may miss the full scope of the situation. Recognizing these factors is essential not only for understanding the current conflict but also for anticipating its future trajectory and the broader implications for Southeast Asia's stability. Ultimately, a nuanced analysis can inform better policy responses and diplomatic efforts aimed at de-escalating tensions and fostering long-term peace in the region. For most valuable points for in-depth analysis and discussion on Cambodia-Thailand border tensions. 1. Military engagements and escalation of hostilities. The military confrontations between Cambodia and Thailand, particularly the airstrikes launched by Thailand, signify a critical shift from diplomatic discussions to open conflict. This escalation raises questions about the efficacy of diplomatic channels in resolving territorial disputes. The analysis can delve into the strategic motivations behind Thailand's military actions, examining how they reflect broader national security concerns and historical grievances. Additionally, exploring the impact of such military engagements on civilian populations and infrastructure, as well as the potential for further escalation into a more significant conflict, is crucial. 2. Geopolitical implications for ASEAN and regional stability. The tensions at the Cambodia-Thailand border have significant ramifications for the stability of Southeast Asia and the unity of ASEAN as a regional organization. The analysis can focus on how the conflict could affect ASEAN's ability to maintain collective security and economic partnerships, particularly in light of varying responses from member states. The role that external powers such as the US and China play in influencing the situation should also be examined, especially regarding their strategic interests in the region. The potential fragmentation of ASEAN due to differing member state responses to the conflict could lead to a re-evaluation of regional alliances and security arrangements. 3. Economic impact and investment climate. The ongoing border dispute poses a substantial risk to the economic stability of both Cambodia and Thailand, potentially deterring foreign investment and disrupting trade flows. An in-depth analysis can explore how geopolitical tensions affect investor confidence and the broader economic landscape in Southeast Asia. The discussion can include specific sectors that may be impacted, such as tourism, manufacturing, and agriculture, and assess how long-term instability could alter investment strategies within the region. Furthermore, examining the economic interdependencies between Cambodia and Thailand could provide insights into how the conflict may influence regional economic dynamics. 4. Diplomatic responses and international mediation. The call for international mediation by both Cambodia and Thailand highlights the challenges of resolving such territorial disputes through diplomatic means. A thorough discussion can assess the role of ASEAN and other international actors in mediating the conflict. The analysis should focus on the effectiveness of existing diplomatic frameworks and the willingness of major powers to engage in the mediation process. Additionally, the discussion could explore the potential for conflict resolution strategies and peacebuilding initiatives that could be adopted to address underlying issues and foster long-term stability in the region. These 4 points serve as a foundation for a comprehensive analysis of the Cambodia-Thailand border tensions, considering military, geopolitical, economic, and diplomatic dimensions to provide a holistic understanding of the situation's implications for Southeast Asia. Here are 3 famous historical cases of territorial disputes that have similar themes to the 2025 Cambodia-Thailand border tensions. 1. The Falklands War in 1982. The Falklands War was a conflict between Argentina and the United Kingdom over the disputed Falkland Islands located in the South Atlantic Ocean. In April 1982, Argentina invaded the islands, claiming sovereignty over them, which had been a long-standing territorial dispute. The UK responded with a naval task force to reclaim the islands, leading to a 10-week conflict. The war resulted in significant military engagements, with the UK ultimately regaining control over the islands. This conflict underscored the complexities of colonial legacies and national pride and had lasting implications for both countries' foreign policies and military strategies. The Falklands War also highlighted the role of international alliances. As the US supported the UK while many Latin American countries sided with Argentina, complicating regional dynamics. 2. The India-Pakistan wars over Kashmir. The territorial dispute over Kashmir between India and Pakistan dates back to the partition of British India in 1947. Both nations claimed the region, leading to multiple wars in 1947, 1965, and 1999, as well as ongoing military skirmishes and political tensions. The conflict is rooted in historical grievances, religious differences, and national identity. The line of control lock was established as a de facto border after the 1947-48 war, but sporadic violence and military confrontations have persisted. The Kashmir conflict has significant implications for regional stability in South Asia, affecting not only bilateral relations but also drawing in international powers. The situation continues to be a flashpoint, with both nations investing heavily in military capabilities while engaging in diplomatic negotiations that yield little progress. 3. The Spratly Islands dispute. The Spratly Islands in the South China Sea are subject to overlapping territorial claims by several countries, including China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. The disputes have led to increased military presence and naval confrontations in the region as nations seek to assert their claims over the islands and surrounding waters rich in resources and strategic shipping lanes. Tensions have escalated in recent years, particularly with China's expansionist activities and the construction of artificial islands. The Spratly Islands dispute exemplifies the challenges of regional cooperation in Southeast Asia as countries navigate complex geopolitical interests. The situation poses risks for regional stability, affecting trade routes and prompting responses from external powers like the United States, which conducts freedom of navigation operations in the area to counter China's assertiveness. These cases highlight common themes of territorial sovereignty, military engagement, and the geopolitical ramifications of such disputes, drawing parallels to the current situation between Cambodia and Thailand. Future outlook: predictions for the Cambodia-Thailand border tensions and Southeast Asia stability. As we project into the future, the situation surrounding the Cambodia-Thailand border tensions of 2025 presents several potential outcomes and implications for regional stability in Southeast Asia. Given the historical context and the escalating military confrontations, it is essential to consider various scenarios and their strategic implications for the region. 1. Increased military engagement and escalation. If the current trajectory of military engagement continues, we could see a further escalation of hostilities between Cambodia and Thailand. This might involve prolonged military conflicts. Continued airstrikes and ground offensives could lead to a protracted conflict, undermining any diplomatic initiatives. Both nations may become entrenched in their positions, making resolution increasingly difficult. Regional arms race. Other nations in Southeast Asia may feel compelled to bolster their military capabilities in response to the conflict. This could lead to an arms race in the region, further destabilizing the delicate security balance in Southeast Asia. 2. Diplomatic mediation efforts and conflict resolution. Conversely, there is potential for diplomatic efforts to prevail. ASEAN's role strengthened. Given the increasing urgency of the situation, ASEAN could take a more proactive role in mediating the conflict. This could include establishing a neutral peacekeeping force or facilitating discussions aimed at de-escalation. International involvement. Major powers, particularly the US and China, may step in to broker negotiations. Their involvement could lead to a ceasefire and a renewed focus on dialogue, especially if economic interests in the region are threatened by prolonged conflict. 3. Economic consequences and regional impact. The ongoing tensions are likely to have significant economic ramifications for both Cambodia and Thailand, as well as for the broader Southeast Asian economy. Investment decline. The conflict may deter foreign investment, affecting economic growth prospects in both nations. Investors often shy away from regions marked by instability, leading to potential downturns in crucial sectors such as tourism and manufacturing. Disruption of trade routes. Increased military presence along the border could disrupt trade routes, impacting not only Cambodia and Thailand but also their trade partners in ASEAN. This could lead to higher costs and logistical challenges for businesses operating in the region. 4. Long-term geopolitical shifts. The border tensions may also precipitate broader geopolitical shifts in Southeast Asia. Realignment of alliances. As countries react to the conflict, we may see shifts in alliances and partnerships. Nations may choose to distance themselves from either Cambodia or Thailand based on economic or security considerations. Emergence of new regional powers. Should Cambodia or Thailand gain significant international support, it could shift the balance of power in the region, with implications for ASEAN's cohesion and effectiveness as a bloc. 5. Humanitarian and social implications. The humanitarian impact of the conflict cannot be overlooked. Displacement and refugee crises. Continued military engagements may lead to displacement of populations along the border, resulting in humanitarian crises that require international assistance. Social unrest. Prolonged conflict could lead to domestic unrest within both countries as citizens grow weary of war and the associated economic hardships, potentially leading to political instability. Conclusion. The future of Cambodia-Thailand border tensions will significantly impact not only the bilateral relationship between these nations but also the broader stability of Southeast Asia. While military escalation poses a risk of prolonged conflict, there remains a path toward diplomatic resolution that could stabilize the region. Ultimately, the international community, particularly ASEAN, must play a crucial role in addressing the underlying issues and preventing a full-scale conflict. Economic interests, humanitarian concerns, and the need for regional stability will likely drive the responses of both nations and their allies in the coming years. The situation remains fluid, and the choices made by Cambodia, Thailand, and their regional partners will shape the future landscape of Southeast Asia for years to come.